falling. High tide, low tide. We humans always try to discover and invent new things. And one such human being discovered that we can produce electricity just by these rising and falling waves of water. From its inception to execution, from allocated budget from the government to risk management. This was one of the, or if not the biggest civil project on water. Three Gorges, the world's largest dam, sits across the mighty Yangtze River. This is not just a project, it's a mega civil project. And it has a history to it. And this is not just a story of concrete and turbines, this is a case study of managing cost, quality, people, politics, nature, all at once. Whether you are an engineer or a project manager or just curious, this video will give you a lot to think about. Hi, my name is Tarun Kumar and I am the project director of the Three Gorges Dam. So before we touch the river, we need to plan every ripple. This isn't just a dam, it's history. So history needs structure. So we'll just go through this once more. So everybody go through their roles and do it accordingly. Right? So Arjinder, let's talk through you.
I'll overlook budget, project conception and initiation, all the elements included in hydroelectric power, flood control, energy security. The scope is clear. I'll draft the project charter that outlines our mission. Quality was top priority. Turbines had to meet rigorous standards, so holding back on cost for raw material was not an option. Hi, I'm Harjinder Gill, the financial head for the Three Gorges Dam. When the Chinese government approved the Three Gorges Dam project in 1992, the initial budget was estimated at approximately 90 billion yuan, which was $11 billion at that time. It covered dam construction, power plant installation, reservoir preparation, relocation and resettlement of people, environmental protection, infrastructure development. The budget came from different sources: government bonds, which the Chinese government issued special bonds to finance major infrastructure, Yangtze Power Co Limited, domestic banks, electricity revenue projections, World Bank. Then comes the design for this project.
I'll do the planning, scope, goals, budget and timelines. I'll coordinate the Gantt charts and technical breakdowns. No surprises, risk and communication planning are crucial. As we had the massive budget, we designed this dam to be one of the largest operating dam with 32 turbines. The previous largest dam, which is in South Africa, called Itaipu, which has 20 turbines. This is Bhuvanish. I am the design engineer of this project. The dam was designed to be 2.3 kilometers long and 185 meters high. The turbine each would generate 700 megawatts of power, that is approximately powering 700,000 households. We designed it to be concrete gravity dam, which means it relies on its own weight to resist the horizontal pressure of the water. To enhance the navigation along the Yangtze River, the dam includes two sets of ship locks and ship lifts. These features have significantly improved the transportation of goods between inland China and eastern seaboard.
We plan to transform the landscape of central China, provide vast amount of clean energy. But the work was yet to begin, and the challenges were way past than what we calculated, and they showed up as we progressed.
And I oversee control, legal audits, environmental regulation, community resettlement. We track every impact, mitigate every risk. The first task at hand was to discuss and plan about all the disruptions to the human life and environment. My name is Abdul Qadir and I am the legal advisor of the project called Three Gorges Dam. While constructing the dam, as these can have major implications to the whole project, we have to survey and monitor different groups who represent people, flora and fauna of the area. The government has sanctioned the project, but from the beginning to the end of the project, we have to make sure that there is no damage at all. But these mega constructions will have some liabilities. So I work closely with Operation Manager to oversee the progress and keep everything in check in terms of legal implications.
Execution phase, that's where I come in, coordinating with 25,000 workers, multiple contractors, real-time adjustment, quality and safety checks won't be compromised. After all the procurement, the project starts. The world's largest hydroelectric power station and one of the most ambitious engineering projects ever taken over the years. Its construction involves several complex stages all over the years. Firstly, geological environment, and financial provided a crucial data. It involves the main and the most important thing is relocating the people, more than 1.4 million people.
Relocation of the people is not an easy task. It involves negotiation, providing new facility, security, etc. But tide can turn any way during these talks.
While the relocation was the first step, the second step is river diversion. We have drawn plans to redirect the flow, temporary diversion channels and tunnels built to reroute the rivers, which provide us a dry condition for the construction of the dam. Coffer dams were also built for redirection. Approx 30,000 to 40,000 man-force was appointed for this huge project and many international consultants and engineers. All the operations were set in motion for this mega project.
Finally, closure. When the dam stands tall, we'll document everything. Performance reports, legacy reports, and everything else. So let's build a new Great Wall. The crucial reason why this dam was built is because villages and cities surrounding the Yangtze River have repeatedly fallen victim to heavy flooding. Minor floods happen almost every year during the rainy season. And the biggest problem was, however, are major and long-lasting floods that are difficult to predict. It is estimated that around 90 years ago, the deadliest among them claimed around 3.7 to 4 million people. So something needed to be done. Therefore, the concept for an enormous dam that could control the flow of the Yangtze was developed. But this ambitious project came with a heavy price, triggering landslides, endangering ecosystems, displacing entire communities, and raising serious concerns about long-term environmental and social impacts.
But from a legal standpoint, there are already warning signs. The resettlement of over 1 million people is a logistical feat. The environmental implications are equally concerning, submerging entire ecosystem in the process. We are building something historic, but the legal and ethical foundations must be just as strong as the concrete we are pouring, representing government and satisfying all the parties. One negative impact on any factor and ball starts rolling. And in these kind of projects, it makes us question all the work.
The doubts rising and lapses found, we plan to build coffer dams to start the construction and divert the river. Dam in Hubei is massive. It sits across the mighty Yangtze River and holds back a gigantic reservoir more than 600 kilometers across. This reservoir alone spans over an area larger than the entire island nation of Singapore. So any mistake can cost millions of lives. As in the downstream, there are major cities including Wuhan and Shanghai. This gives us a perception of risk involved and gravitas of the situation.
Every project has a scope and a finish line, and it has risks and challenges. And in this mega project, we face problems on a mega level too. We face problems on every level, both internally and externally.
Inflation, fluctuating commodity prices, and changing currency valuations added additional strain on project budget. The government had to divert funds from other sectors and take up loans from both domestic and international banks because substantial portion of the dam's cost went toward relocating more than 1.4 million people who lived in the areas that would be submerged by the reservoir. Additionally, underestimated the financial requirements for resettlement, housing, and infrastructure development in new locations, which quickly escalated corruption, further complicated the matter.
We had identified structural instability in the river near Turbine Block 4. The geological layer thought they were stable, it's fragmenting under pressure. That's a critical risk. We should have flagged this sooner. Construction of the dam had significant design challenges. The river basin includes unstable rock layers and high seismic activity zones. These factors made foundation work especially difficult and risky. With all this, the most important part was to install the 32 turbines, which actually generate the electricity at the same time, each weighing hundreds of tons, required meticulous precision. These components were supplied by both Chinese and foreign companies, including General Electric, White Siemens, and Alstom, synchronizing their installation, ensuring compatibility, and maintaining quality control were Herculean tasks, especially given the scale and tight timelines.
I have paused the work in affected zone. We are evaluating the risk impact. If it is spread, the delay could extend to 3 months. Safety is our priority, but so in momentum. Process. Everyone talk about the power generation, but few outside the engineering room understand the sediment challenge. The Yangtze carries hundreds of millions of tons of soil and mud annually. If that build up in the reservoir, we would lose generating capacity. During the process, many villages and ancestral places were down due to the redirection of river and build-up of the reservoir. This could lead to severe consequences and legally and could raise millions of questions on the vision of the project. The Yangtze River is historically flood prone. One of the most severe floods in modern Chinese history occurred in 1998 during the early construction phase. Over 3,000 people died and millions were displaced. But the Three Gorges Dam. The Yangtze River is historically flood prone. One of the most severe flood in modern Chinese history occurred in 1998 during the early construction phase. Over 3,000 people died and millions were displaced, but the Three Gorges Dam was not operational and only some early stages structures were in place. Engineers used the flood as a test case to assess the river's strength and validate their hydrological models. It confirmed the necessity and urgency of the project.
Let's not forget, villagers downstream have filed new petition. Environmental compliance terms are questioning our sediment management. We are under review. Many displaced residents continue to pursue compensation after discovering their new homes were poorly built or their land had lower agricultural value. The dam has caused ecosystem disruptions, reduced biodiversity, and impact downstream water quality. The Yangtze River spans multiple provinces, all with varying water needs for agriculture, industry, and urban use. During the project operation, international community have raised concern over the dam contribution to mercury buildup in fish population, loss of cultural heritage, climate, and hydrological impacts.
All the elements involved in this project during its entire life cycle, everything took a hit, and the domino effect began.
International community, engineers, power consumers, contractors, industrial sector.
Environmental risk, technical risk, social risk, political risk.
Financial buffering, cost overrun, competing interest.
Management system, emergency spillways and backup system, geological surprises, and social unrest.
Stakeholders, Chinese government, local population, environmental groups.
The engineering adaptation for the project helped us get out the situation swiftly. When we encountered unanticipated geological and hydrological conditions, we conducted real-time site assessments, updated the design models, and modified construction techniques, including reinforcement of the dam foundation. The engineering adaptation for the project helped us get out the situation swiftly. When we encountered unanticipated geological and hydrological conditions, we conducted real-time site assessments, updated the design models, and modified construction techniques, including reinforcement of the dam foundation. The design team utilized computer simulations, physical models, and new materials to improve the efficiency and safety of the structure. Innovations included advanced turbine design and adaptive flood control features. Dam now provides significant hydroelectric power, improved flood control, and enhanced inland navigation, though long-term environmental and social impacts remain under observation.
We knew the scale of what we were building and the consequences that would follow. My job wasn't to decide whether the project should happen. My job was to make sure that if we did, we executed with precision, safety, and accountability. We built contingency into every phase. Every day brought trade-offs, whether delays, resettlement friction, and worker safety risk, and constant pressure to stay on schedule while managing the massive public scrutiny. But operationally, we stayed disciplined. Risk registers were updated weekly. If something failed, it was immediately corrected. With over 25,000 workers on site during peak construction, we implemented layered quality control and used over 27.2 million cubic meters of concrete, all poured under strict timeline constraints and safety regulations. Our role was to ensure that what was built to last.
From the financial side, we knew this wasn't just a power project. It was one of the largest capital expenditures in the modern Chinese history. Initially, cost projections were around 8 billion US dollars, but by the time all phases were complete, the total cost surpassed 31 billion. There were also operational risk costs, all requiring future expenditures that couldn't be fully quantified at the start, and yet the long-term projection justified it. The dam would generate 22,500 megawatts, supplying up to 10% of Chinese electricity demand at that time, with a payback period estimated at 10 to 15 years based on energy revenues. Still, from a national investment perspective, the dam was seen as a strategic asset, stabilizing energy prices, reducing flood damages. In the end, the financial decision wasn't made because the costs were low. It was made because the long-term economic and strategical values was judged to be higher, even with full awareness of the social and ecological trade-offs.
We knew we were dealing one of the most complex infrastructure undertaking in the country's history, not just in scale but in impact. The legal implication of displacing over 1.3 million people were enormous. More than 13 cities, 140 towns, and 1,350 villages were affected internationally. We faced strong criticism from environmental and human rights NGOs, especially regarding lack of public consultations, the loss of cultural heritage. Our job wasn't to prevent conflict, it was to ensure legal groundwork was strong enough to withstand it. We moved forward, not because the legal issues were simple, but because the state made a strategic decision to prioritize national interests. And once that decision was made, our responsibility was to ensure that every action taken was legally defensible, even under international scrutiny.
As a project director, I stood at the intersection of vision and execution, where ambition meets reality. Three Gorges is more than concrete and turbines. It's a symbol of national will and engineering brilliance. From its inception to completion, we navigated legal, financial, environmental, and operational storms. In the end, it was a project that tested every limit and proved what's possible when vision doesn't falter under pressure.